Hi Collective, welcome to my channel. I'm Crystal, a divine psychic medium here delivering messages to you from the higher realms. So welcome in everybody. So I'm just going to get guided to whatever decks that I feel to use in this reading, right? The color frequency that I'm feeling obviously is green. So, you know, I talked to you about the frequency of the colors that I feel, all right, where it brings in certain healings, certain cards, messages, right? But there's this strong energy of green, right? So there's definitely a healing that is underway, I feel. Okay, so I don't want to get too much into the... I've been trying to just focus more on the cards and less my channeled messages. Why also I'm trying to not be on camera so much, because I really feel that it's been distracting a lot of me, and then it makes me feel like I'm on stage on camera, right? So then I feel like I have to just spill all the channel messages, right? Like there's so much that I'm wanting to say right now and then I'm not wanting to say, and it's like back and forth. So I wanted to let you guys know, like, I don't even know which platform I'm going to put this on, but I'm starting to manage both of my platforms and I'm trying to find a way to separate them. Okay, so like one's going to be more just where I'm getting into the cards, then I'm going to have something separate for how I give the channeled messages. Okay, and then I get to decide which platform to put them on. So I guess I'm letting you know, if you want to catch more of my content, check out my other platforms where you can find more. And I have them linked down below in the description box, right? But as always, all of my readings are timeless, but I'm going to let you know about the energies that I'm connecting with. So subscribe if you have not, because it's more fun to catch them in real time, right? Okay. So let's go here. Let's go now for the Metaphysical Cannabis Oracle and see what we have coming out. Oh my gosh. I've been getting a lot of heart messages, and remember I said there's a heart healing underway? Look at that. This is the heart. What unconditional love and the blueprint of that. So, there's messages behind each of these cards. But if y'all know, I have so many oracle decks. I can't possibly... Oh, my, that was the booklet that fell at the beginning. Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on a second. Just a second. I have to pause for just a moment. All right. Okay, so there was one card that was left in the book that fell on the floor, which is interesting. So I had one bookmark. Sometimes I used to do that. So we're going to see what that is, because right when I started the reading, it fell on the floor. And that's why I had to take a minute, because I had to stretch to get it. I have to remind myself not to do that. I'm very stubborn. I don't like to do unnecessary surgeries. Oh my goodness. So I have like a little hernia over here that it's fine unless I do certain things, because I thought I could lift a washing machine down from a truck. So yeah, I did that when I was really young. Okay. Anyways, it's one of those things you stretch a certain way. Okay. All right. Anyways, it's fine now. Okay. So there's this energy of healing in the heart coming out. Right? Maybe somebody needs to do a heart healing, right? Very much then for that to happen. Everything happens for a reason, but it's like, see, I find ways to not strain my heart. Maybe somebody, or strain my side, right? And it doesn't happen very often at all unless I strain. So maybe somebody's straining their heart and you need to go through a healing, a cleanse of not doing that, right? I'm getting someone needs to calm down. There's so many different ways that you can naturally heal yourself, right? Just like I have a heart condition that I don't like to often talk about, right? But my heart, you know, it flutters, things like that. It's stress. Certain things, you know, will do it. So I avoid those things. Like I can't watch horror films and get scared and things like that, or it triggers it, the arrhythmia. So, but it's things like, there's medications that I could take, but no, I don't do that. Right? It's time to be being shaman. Right? Natural healing, right? So, anyways, there's something about that. There's some sort of healing, right? That needs to happen. Okay. All right, let's look at the rest of this cards, all right? See, sometimes I feel like I can get into talking too much, right? Gratitude rampage. It's already happening. Huh. And she's smoking. Look at the musical notes. Something to do with music. I was watching somebody draw notes today, too, in like a video that I was watching. Maybe somebody's supposed to be writing some music. Accountability and healing. Oh my gosh, and healing is here. This reminds me of the Temperance card because she's got, you know, one foot in the water, one on land. It's about finding that balance, right? But oh my gosh, can't make it up. What I was feeling, healing and the heart, unconditional love, healing the heart. See, I read intuitively. Healing the heart, right? And it's clear as day. Somebody definitely needs to go through a heart here. Maybe somebody needs to eat better too, because I keep getting something about cholesterol. I don't even know what that means. I mean, I should, but I really don't. So maybe that means something to somebody. All right. On the bottom is miracles, codes in nature. This is definitely a time for miracles. Let me tell you what. 6:16 on the clock as I say that. All right. And let's get into the additional messages, and then I will read the last card that was in the book, right? That just so happened to be here, right? So I have to look each of these up. Okay, so this was really unconditional love. Was really the card for the heart. If this card comes up for you, it's time to find unconditional love. In this card, we see a heart with 33 petals. The outer petals blend inward from green to pink, purple, and white in the middle. Elements of gold and pink glisten out into every corner of the card. Small rolled up scrolls float around the heart to represent the soul contracts each person makes with their journey. The contracts exist between partners and friends, and most importantly, family. But these contracts are not bonds that last forever. In fact, they are lessons that teach us to be our most authentic selves. As we have integrated the lessons of Card of Truth, the highest selves of everyone are truly patting each other on the back and showing each other unconditional love. Wow. So that's the message behind the unconditional love card. Crystals that you could work with are ruby. And a new thought pattern, unconditional love is my life force and flows through me, creating a passion for life. Wow, okay. All right, and then we got the healing card, which is, oh, that's right, I have to look it up by, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Ifarda 48, so it might be we're going to find out about her. It looks like. Because some of these are really important doctors and people, like she's the moon box of the witch doctor. The moon box of the witch doctor has spilled open to reveal a pool of water. The cannabis leaf, earth, and the flower of life represents the spirit awakening in the physical body. This is a card for a spiritual sign of Sagittarius because it combines wisdom and that special off-the-cuff behavior. Afarada is the problem solver with many solutions. This card represents a balance between our primal animal nature and our divine spiritual side. Your favorite Sagittarian has big when do you forget you were divine energy, and more often than not, they are the source of your growth experience. Being in the human experience requires enthusiasm first, then discipline, and later dedication. A Farada often signals a time for travel, which is essential to the soul. This card appears when the bridge between your higher self and your human self jokingly poke at you to take that trip with your friends or lovers. It reminds you not to be serious and remember that experiences is sometimes the best teacher on your journey of awakening. The opportunities for growth are infinite in your career, your life, your business, and especially your wealth. If a Farada appears, it's time to ask yourself, is it time to go back to the IKU, and make more changes and allow myself to let go? Huh. Okay. Interesting. And then we've got gratitude rampage. It's already happening. So, gratitude rampage 75. Ooh, we're almost there. I see what card it is. Very fitting for this time. Okay. This card has shown up for you. It's time for a rampage. So you express gratitude daily, but this is a time to rage it. Write voice memos or video yourself dealing on all the things you are grateful for in your life. Starting with the smallest items in your vicinity, name everything you can, see and expand into portions of your home, community, city, county, continent, planet, universe, and beyond. If this card keeps showing up for you, consider installing a daily practice that includes expressing gratitude in ways that you feel the flow. Showing gratitude of self, but also very importantly to say thank you to yourself and others. So crystal pairing which you could work with is emerald too, which is beautiful. But they want you to start being grateful and thankful for just the small little things, right? Because that you're putting that energy of being grateful out to the universe so it can amplify it back to you, right? If you were to look at it like every time you say thank you, you're going to get something coming back to you that you're going to be thankful for 3 more times, 6 more times, 9 more times. I don't know where I was going with that. Okay. And then Hisaba, accountability. Let's see. 36. And as I call out the numbers, they might mean something to you, they might not, because sometimes those will be synchronistic and I'll give you confirmations. So this is a card of a grateful woman who stands with a lion arching over her head. Above her sits an infinity symbol, while the giant head of the lion takes up the upper portion of the card. It could easily swallow her, but instead is in awe of her gentleness. Hisaba reminds us that having courage doesn't mean you don't feel fear. It means that you have confidence in your innate abilities. The lion doesn't second guess its animal instincts, so when this card emerges, it reminds you of your inner strength. Balance must be maintained on both ends between not harming the lion or between swallowed by it. But if someone or something has upset you, take a slow walk through the Pride Land and hunt down what is inside of you instead of attacking the other prey. It takes strength to be compassionate. If Hisaba has graced you with her presence, you are being asked to relax. Stop moving forward with the momentum and continue to bring complaints and instead move forward with one thing that brings solution. Only you can give yourself forgiveness when it comes to someone who may have let their animal side out. Ask yourself, can I let my tears be healers of my timeline? Do I feel intimidated around others as I don't have the same lion spirit? Do I believe I am more than just a label I place on myself? Wow, okay. What kept playing out over and over again with this to me is, so there's a big message they want me to put across, that it's really important for some of you to know this is about balancing, right? About temperancing your energy, because you're going to be having a lot of things that are going to come up as triggers to try to get you to act out in your animalistic side, right? And what I keep getting is it's like somebody feels as though if they don't stand up and defend themselves that they're going to appear weak. And I wanted to tell you that, it takes far more strength to be one to walk away quietly and silently and not say anything back, instead of the one that is sitting there running their mouth thinking that they're all tough. And that's because when we grow up, right, it's like you get bullied and stuff if you're quiet and you don't stand up to bullies. You get that weakness persona, but really it's all wrong, right? It's like this world has conditioned us to no. You got to stand up for yourself, right? And you do to an extent, but you have to know that finding that balance, not letting your animalistic side get you to act out in a way that's not defensive. Yes, if somebody's attacking you, and I did use a bullying thing, yes, if somebody's fighting you, then yes, you need to use your animalistic side, defend yourself and fight back. Yes. Right? But just because somebody's saying things to you to try to get you to get, to try to ruffle your feathers, to try to get you to react in a way. Their words are getting you to act out in your animalistic side. That shows how weak you are, for their words, just what they said, caused you to act out. And that is where it takes the most control, because I get it. Some of the words and some of the things or some of the references, and it's just like one of my boys, where I was talking to him and stuff, and he was like, yeah, I was fine not saying anything until they said something about you. Once they said something about you, nope, they were getting beat. He's like, you don't disrespect my mama, But no, I was like, no, that's where you were wrong there. Like, I get it. I appreciate that, right? But they knew how to come at you with something to hurt you, right? Like, this is where you need to know it takes more strength to walk away not saying anything. And that's the true thing. Like, it is so much more like, I love when I see people walk away, stand down, and say nothing. Those are the ones that I admire. And it's so impressive to see someone walk away and not respond. Because that is where the real strength comes in. The people that are acting out irrationally and causing scenes and fits, I just send them healing. Because the reason why they're doing that is a lot of times they're spilling over. They have so much rage from within that they cannot control themselves, right? That they're acting out in that manner, in that way, right? And you don't really know what people are truly going through. Like right before this reading, I was literally talking to friends about my son and how, he's been acting out. He's been in secure detention now. He's now in another facility, and it was like back to back. And we're trying to figure out like what is going on with him, where is all this rage coming from, and explaining, where all of this is coming from. And it's like, and a lot of the perceptions towards the end is it's like he was downward spiraling and he was so mad at himself and his own behaviors that it was causing him to act out and him to appear a certain way. And it's like when you finally really talk about, and explain what's been going on, this deep wounding and trauma that he's had from within, right? Because he's had abandonment issues because his father was never there for him. And then he did come into his life and really destroyed him by the way that he came into his life. And he came back into his life, but then he didn't. He instead took on his sister and was like, I'm going to be a dad to her and take her to theme parks and all of this stuff, and not him. And he just does not realize how much that rage got. And it's like I couldn't do anything to get him then to see the love that I was getting him. And it was just, it's just ever since then, he knew what he was doing. But anyways, that's, karma handles itself, right? But it's like, I'm having to do a lot of healing and trauma recovery and all sorts of stuff from that situation, right? I don't know why I felt to explain that, because I'm getting for some mama out there, this is where you need to forgive yourself, like the grief that you're carrying, and it's just like my son acts out all of his rage and anger and hates me and doesn't want to be, and I know that he's projecting it at me, what's inside, and he doesn't know how else to, to put out his anger. Most people, when they're being very expressive and they're spilling out with insults and everything, it's projecting. Everybody really, what they say is what they feel inside. It's just like what you see is a reflection of what you feel inside. So if, bullies, they're the ones that need the most amount of love because they feel that way inside, or they're constantly bullied. There's a lack of love there. There's a disconnect. They're hurt. They're covering up that they're hurt, right? So there's a big heart healing, right? Because stress, the heaviness that you carry in your heart chakra, that's what causes all of these ailments and these problems. The body's meant to regenerate, to heal itself. It really is. So, hold on, what time is it? Oh, Maddie, can you get the door? It's your brother. All right, so there is definitely a major healing that has taken place, right? But it's taking place with you. Shh, doing a reading. All right, so all right, where was I? So did I read the accountability? Oh, yeah. So that's what I was getting, like the real strength that it takes, right? And to letting go. And it takes an incredibly amount of strength, right? To forgive yourself. Like a big thing for me is it's like for a while, like I was getting caught up in his bad behavior and I was in this mindset like he doesn't care. And, you know, and then I was being more strict with his punishments and things. And it's like I should have looked at why he was acting this way. Like, I remember when I had told the judge everything that was going on, and we left the courtroom that day, and he was like, you know, gosh, you really don't love me. Like, you were the only one I had on my side, and you just told the judge everything. He's like, it's like you wanted me locked up, and he doesn't understand as I did, but it was for his protection, because he was spiraling so far out of control, you know, like he was running with kids and guns and stuff. So yeah, I told the judge all of that, you know, and then I've got pics of him with this stuff, because I was like, this was to save your life, you know, because I was like, if I didn't tell somebody, right, like, you know, it wasn't going to stop, you know, I couldn't hide this stuff or whatever. So he was so upset with me. Luckily, the judge was lenient with him, right, and stuff, but it was more like, well, that way we can get the help and we could stop the behavior, right? But it's like one of these, it's like, I know that I made the right decision because I always ask my divine team to protect me, help me, you know, especially whenever I need to speak up and say things to give me that courage and strength, because I've had a lot of throat chakra blockages and stuff throughout my life, right? And so anyways, like, there's a big forgiveness that's needed here, but it really opened my eyes too to get me to realize that, you know, I fully wasn't realizing where all of this rage and anger really was coming from, right? Until sometimes when you start talking about things, you start to see things, and then I start to put together, you know, like I made a freaking like timeline of his behavior, of the major things that happen and when they happen, and that's when I got to see like, oh my gosh, like, yep, everything happened from all the things that his father was doing him, you know, destroying him after his 12th birthday, right? So yeah, that it all stemmed down to that, and then not to mention, you know, a year before that, he lost his grandfather, my father, to COVID, and that was you know, it was you know, the only real father figure he'd had in his life, you know, and I didn't realize. I mean, I knew, like, the kids were like, well, things are fine, because towards last year of my dad's life, we were kind of really distant with them and stuff, and so I had thought that the kids were okay, but they weren't, right? So, and especially him, that was like his father, right? So, yeah. All right. So anyway, I told you too, whenever I grabbed this witch's garden, which I forgot I restarted the reading to get into the oracle, but I had just pulled this deck and I was just shuffling it. And then I was like, no, I want to start with oracle and then get into the tarot. So I'm definitely going to get into the tarot with the witch's garden. I'll pull just a few cards, but I'm going to have to do a reading in length for sure, right? Because I didn't realize it was going so long. But whenever I grab this, it's family. There's so many children that are in this deck. So it's like whenever I grab this deck, like, I know that I'm connecting with somebody that is dealing with something with family, with children. I wanted to show you, they have in the book right here, the cover of the book is the Hierophant. So this is what the Hierophant picture is in this deck. And it's actually a woman, right? A wise woman. And there's 2 children. And it looks like these 2 children are going to her for help, right? And what was interesting is now they just showed me the flash of the video that I seen. It was a short little clip, I guess, of a movie that's going to be streaming around online to watch. But it was a little clip, I think, of Jenna Ortega, I think is who it was, or she was in a stall and there was a school shooting that was going on, and she was hiding in the bathroom trying to call for help, and there was another girl that came in there and hid with her, and then another young man had came in, and he was crying and all upset. He had just seen something happen to his brother. His brother just gets shot and the guns are going off and he's got blood all over him, and the feeling that I felt, you know, and it just reassured me, like, you know, just it's such a scary time, you know, and just reassure me little things like that. Like, I'm glad I said something, because these are the children that are raging out and they feel they have nothing to lose. And they're getting mixed up in guns. Like, I don't even know how these kids are getting access to these guns. You know, like, literally, like, I showed the police a photo of that my son had. Like, he posted it up to, like, his TikTok or whatever. And the cops are looking at it, and they're like, they told me exactly what kind of gun it was and everything. They're like, yeah, that's a real gun, you know? And stuff. And literally the first court hearing where I was in with my son, it was case after case after case, literally. And it was gun charge of all these children. And they were all like 14, 15, 16, all these children that had had guns with them. Threats of school shooting over social media was one of them. Another one was they brought a gun with them to school. Another one was another threat and having a weapon. I was like, oh my gosh, literally the first court hearing that I'm sitting in, and all these kids were getting brought from the Justice Center out right before my son. And it was case after case. And I was just like, oh my God, like, this is all like in the county, in the school. I had no idea that it was so much. And it's just, I don't know. It's interesting they had me talking about guns in this one, and then and even my own son, like, I would have never thought, like, I don't believe in guns. I don't own a gun. I never will. Things like that. You know, and it's just this gun stuff keeps showing to me. And then I'd seen on a social media, one of my boyfriend's friend was sharing pictures of him at a gun range with one of his sons. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, all this gun stuff, like, I mean, I get it. Like, it's just these children, you know, are getting out of control with the guns and they're feeling like they have to, you know, be a part of that. Not to mention, like, they're making it cool, right? Like, you know, what's crazy too is, like, my son, both my boys grew up with the Fortnite. So exciting. I remember when they were little how excited they were jumping up and down for the little things, like the first time that the cars appeared in the Fortnite. And I remember thinking, oh, how cool, you know, and stuff, because my youngest son used to love playing the race car games. So, and then he got into doing Fortnite, right? And then it was like, so I'm like, oh, look, they're bringing back the cars and it's neat, but they've taken it to a deep level. You want to know what he was excited about yesterday? Running to me, the new things in the game is now you can smoke up, and now you can purchase edibles and gummies and get high and play and get high. When you shoot and you kill the people, smoke is spewing out of their body, like, oh, they were so high. So he was running around, look, Mom, I'm so high, da 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 da. Like, this is what I mean. This is what they're doing to the games, to that. And I remember thinking how cool it was that the new season that launched, it's the gods, right? And they have the Egyptian gods and stuff in there, but then now the gummies get real and all this stuff. So, oh my gosh. But that's what I mean. Like, it's interesting because the cannabis, right? Where it's like they're taking it to extremes. Like, they're messing with the cannabis, and it's like, I don't know. Like, and to hear that they're lacing it with fentanyl and all sorts of stuff, like, the kids just really need to be careful with what they're getting. And that happened to my son too. He got picked up on a drug charge, and they caught him with the bag, and they took him to the hospital to test him because he had alcohol, and they actually found fentanyl in his system. My son is 14, and he doesn't even know what that is. He didn't even know how he had it. And he had it due to it getting laced in a little bag. He had a little tiny bit, but luckily it was just a little tiny bit. But that's what I mean. Like, this is just, it's crazy what is going on with our world, with the kids. All right. So anyways, that they're having me bring this out for a reason, right? And I feel that this is going to reach, like, moms, like, you need to be careful. Like, I should have told my son, like, he's getting ready to come up for release. And, like, I told him that I'm probably going to put him in, like, a drug program or in something that I'm like, I can't just, it's not that I don't love you. I need to do interventions. I need to make sure that you're safe, that you're not running the streets, that you're not getting tied up in this stuff. Like, it's really, really hard, but it's like, it's not because I don't love you. You really need to realize I'm doing all this because I do love you, and because, you know, I want you to make it to adulthood. You know, like, it's crazy, right? I would have never thought that, you know, my kids are so sweet, you know, they're angels. They're, well, I'm an angel, so they are actual angels. And it's like, he's, but it's the friends, it's the kids that are, it's like he doesn't realize they're corrupting him. right? And because he's supposed to shine his light and lead others to the light, so the dark always gets drawn to earth angels and star seeds because we guide people to the light, right? But it's like you can't get consumed by them, right? And it's so hard, right? The children don't realize it. And that's where I got lost, right? Because I didn't know that I was a young earth angel either. So, all right. Anyways, I'm going to pull myself out of that confirmation, right? So somebody, you know, and that's who gets guided to my channel, my platform, right? Are the healers, the light workers, right? And you better believe if you are one, your child is one as well, right? So you need to know that. Confirmation again by the phone, all right? So you need to be very protective of your children. Like if that was something I could go back, I would definitely be more protective, and I would have never let them have access to the video games, because that's where he met all of these troubled kids and friends anyways. Was he ended up meeting them online through his game systems and then meeting up with them in the real world. And he met up with these people through like Instagram, and now he'll drop his location. Just the stuff that they do, it's you think you can monitor it, but you can't monitor everything. So, and it's like now, it's like it's such a drug. It's like, you know, he threatens to harm himself and unalive himself if I take his phone away. And that's what led to his last arrest and assaulting me and police officers, was over taking the phone away. So it's very scary, dangerous time with the electronics and the drugs and the media and all of that, right? So you need to be careful and protect your kids. All right. So, all right. I'm not going to do the tarot in this one because I feel like I'm too long. I'm at 30 minutes already. So I'm going to do another reading on top of this one. So if you're catching this one, there'll be a separate reading that should be next to this one. That's a tarot, right? Okay. And maybe if you don't feel guided to that message, because it might be for one person, if you just feel guided to watching this one, then this is your message, all right? Okay. So there is a miracle here, though, right? This last card, and then I need to read to you the bonus that was made very abruptly hit the floor, right? So let's look at codes in nature, miracles. So it would be codes in nature, 105. If this card has come up for you, it is time to find messages in nature. There are secret codes in nature, as shown in the cards by the giant tree with the roots developed to face in the trunk. In ancient legend, it is said that the miracles take place under trees because of the sacred Fibonacci sequence. I recently got that there's a Fibonacci sequence in everything. All right, hold on. I need to investigate this one further. Which appears in all nature. It's a dimensional portal which your angels sing through, purifying anything around them. We see a heart, a liver, intestines, and brain. Each plant is said to have a divine blueprint that corresponds to a human organ and is believed to heal and realign the organ on the 5th dimensional level. Wow, that's very beautiful. Rose quartz. Yeah, if you look at everything, you don't realize how interconnected we are with Mother Gaia. That's why you've got to disconnect from the matrix. The matrix is everything that they put us in a box, if you realize that. The computers and phones and iPads and TVs, everything puts us in a box and gets us virtually and feeds us and controls us that way. And I know I'm preaching all this while you're watching my YouTube video that I put in the box, right? But I'm telling you that you have to have it in moderation. You have to limit yourself. It's like it's a drug. Even the pings on the phone, that significant vibrational frequency releases endorphin, or it is endorphins, but it releases that chemical in the brain, a dopamine or whatever. So it's a dopamine hit. It's the same thing as like the likes and the things like that. So it is like a drug, right? And there are different things. Like that's why like you have to pull yourself off. Like if you ever get caught up in the scrolling too, you don't realize there's something with that. Like if I get on there, I scroll fast to try to not look at certain things, and I'll just stop and I'll pull myself off, right? After like if I've been on 10 minutes, I'm like, nope, right? I always tell myself like, nope, I got my little girl, so I always got something, right? I'll think about like, oh, I gotta go check on my kid. I gotta go do this. I have to tell myself that. But a lot of people don't, and they get lost, right? And get lost in the scrolling. So you need to get out into nature, because that's what they're distracting us from. Like if you look at the trees, what do the tree branches look like? Our lungs, right? There's so many different things that I could go off with, different organs. Look at different things. Look at this heart looking like a flower, right? Different things, right? So there's all these codes in nature, right? You could start being unlocking things. Like I said, there's Fibonacci codes in every single thing. If you look that up, you'll start to realize that we're very much in a matrix here, right? Okay. So anyways, that was the overall energy. So look for codes. I believe that there is a miracle that is on the way, right? And again, they're emphasizing that for me to bring out a lot of what's going on with my child, right? In this reading, that somebody really needs to speak up, right? I mean, you don't want your child to end up hurting another, right? And I had to explain to him too, like, I have to think of the safety for my other kids too. You know, like I told you how my son dropping his location and everything, like he got upset right before he got locked up at he got jumped or something, and he found out who jumped him and he wanted his stuff back. So he called one of his friends that he's running around with guns, and since he was on house arrest and he couldn't leave, he had one of his friends that he's running with guns to go scare the kid to give him his stuff back or whatever. So he sent the kid over there with the gun, right? And he scared the kid, and then cops got called and the kid got picked up. And now that kid got arrested on a gun charge. But I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like, what if that kid's got an older brother too? And now they're all going to be coming after my son for what he did. Not to mention it's awful what he did, right? And it's like, he just doesn't realize, you know, now what if they come, or that kid gets out and is mad and goes and gets access to another gun and now comes and, you know, comes at me and my family, you know. So I have, you know, his brother and his sister, not to, like, you know, it's terrible. These kids, right, are running around with guns, these teenage kids. That's like the biggest message that's coming out. And they think that it's cool, right? And this brings me back to before my son even, like, listen to how messed up this is, right? All right, so my son got kicked out of school. He got suspended. He got kicked out after getting into altercations and fights, but it was always him defending himself. But it's messed up that they were like, oh, you've had too many fights, you're now done. Because the very last time, he was getting threatened to get beat up, and they said, you're going to fight me or else I'm going to find you after school and I'm going to shoot you. And the kid sent him a video on Messenger or whatever, one of the platforms they use, of him outside school. Like, the kid had recorded the video in his backyard with the gun and putting it up to the camera and all this stuff and showing off that he had a gun. So my son was like, oh my gosh, this kid says if I don't fight him, he's going to find me after school with the gun. So he took the video and he went to the office and he reported that he's getting threatened by a gun. And the school immediately suspended him. And they said, whenever there's a gun threat, both parties get suspended. But because my son already had previous suspensions for kids attacking him and him fighting back, it was like, they were like, nope, he's too much trouble, he's done. So he actually got kicked out of school, got expelled. And I was going to fight it, and I actually refused to go to the court hearing initially because I was trying to get everything together. And then I was like, you know what, why am I fighting to put my son back into this school? It's not even worth it. So I pulled him out and I homeschooled him. And then I had him homeschooled the rest of the year, but I don't know if you guys heard my story, when we lost our home and everything, I can't have all of my children living and staying in the motel all the time. I wanted him to have structure and meet new friends, and since we're in a really nice city, I thought, let me get him, you know, and he was doing really well in the school that he was going to for a little while, but then once he found other kids that have dropped out, he went right down that route. It was like, what's the point, go to school anymore? So but it's just bringing me back to that gun thing again, right? And all that they did is just get suspended. My son literally had a video of this kid running around with the gun, and that they have police on campus now, but they just investigate just to make sure it wasn't a threat to get brought at school or whatever, but so it was just a normal 3-day suspension, you know, and that kid still got to stay in the school. But no, my kid gets expelled just because then he was in 2 other fights that he didn't initiate, by the way. He was defending himself. That's what I mean. It's, all right, I'm going to get out of this. It is bothering me. Okay, last card. I will read it for you from this Canabis Oracle, right? So the card that was in here that fell on the floor is the Manifestor card. This is a very powerful card. It's a card of creation. So you have creation and miracles. Somebody is able to create a miracle right here. Wow. All right. Let me look it up here. So manifester 22. Clarity comes to the manifester when they define in crystal clear terms what they have carried in from Vry. The manifester knows how to co-create with the four elements to conjure the environment and desire best suited for their time in this realm. The manifester tells you it is time to stand in your power pose. It is not time for another vision board. It is time for action. The planning phase is over and the phone is ringing. Pick up and accept the infinite possibilities. The infinity symbol represents throughout the curtains of flowers, symbolizing endless opportunity. You didn't come here to fail, and you can always tap into the never-ending flow of energy within yourself. It is time to sow your seeds and build the garden bed. When the manifester shows up, you are being asked to challenge yourself. Consider the following. Am I being clear in my co-creation? The difference between a desire and a manifestation is a plan of action. Wow, very beautiful. 41:01 on the clock as I say that. All right, guys, I'm going to close out this reading. If you're interested in the tarot reading, I'll try to link it down below in the bottom of the description box so you can find it there or pop it up in the screen. Otherwise, it should be right next to this reading on my channel. All right, definitely subscribe if you have not. If you did enjoy my content, that way you will get notifications on when I drop my videos. All right, bye, guys. Love you.